Hello. Welcome to my second video in the How Do I KNIME series. So we're going to be looking at how to get rid of records in your data where the value is missing. Here I have a data set on life expectancy. So if we launch the interactive view of our Data Explorer node, we can see that there are some columns where there's missing data. Let's say we're doing some analysis where the schooling is an important variable and we want to get rid of any records where that's not reported. We can do this using the missing value node. Now there are two nodes when it comes to missing value. There's the missing value node for columns specifically. So you can see this one, missing value column filter. And then this regular missing value node is for rows. Now there are many things you can do when the value is missing. So in many cases, people like to just get rid of records if it's missing. So you can decide that for the column that you care about, and you need to go to the column settings for that. So in our case, we care about the schooling. If you double click on it, you can see all the options. So if you want to remove all the records where there is no data reported for the schooling column, just click on that and click on remove row. So if we run this, we can see that previously we had 2,938 rows. Now we're down to 2,775. So we've lost some of those rows because they had that schooling information missing. Now I want to go back into this node because there's a lot you can do with it. Let's say you wanted to apply some general rules based on the variable type. So maybe for all the string columns, you wanted to get rid of rows if anything was missing. Maybe you wanted to do the same thing for the numbers, both int and double. You can specify that. But oftentimes when I have numerical variables, sometimes I might do linear interpolation if it makes sense, because you might have some relationships where things kind of increase in a linear method, and if something is missing in the middle, it can just use the previous and the next value to figure out what that should be. So you could use that. You could use the mean, the medium, if that makes sense. You could use the most frequent value. In some cases, you might want to do that. So there's many options you can do to deal with missing variables. So removing them is really not the only option. So again, you can do that at the column type level, or you can do it at the individual column level. Oftentimes I do it individually because in some instances, it makes sense to use maybe a mean, for instance, but in others, I might want to use the most frequently reported value. So doing that here often helps. But if you wanted to get rid of it, that's how you do it. Now, I don't want to make this too long, so if you've got everything you needed from this, then please you can go ahead and leave this video. But I want to show you some cases where you have data, but if you open your data set and you're looking at your rows, you actually see blanks and you don't see missing. When that happens, you cannot use the functionalities to handle missing values because KNIME does not see a blank as a missing. Okay, so I'm going to very quickly show you how to address a situation like that. I'm just going to use I'm going to use the rule engine node to replace all instances of Algeria with nothing. So let's actually run this to get rid of those missing rows for the schooling. So I'm going to use the rule engine. Rule engine, this is a very powerful node. It takes a while to get used to the syntax, but once you do, like, you're totally going to get it. Like, once you get it, you get it. So country. If the country is equals to Algeria, then I want it to give me nothing. Otherwise, for everything else, basically, I want it to give me the original value. Okay, so we're going to run this, and if we open up our data again, we can see there's just this empty things. This is actually Algeria. So now if I decide to run the missing value again, and I tell it to get rid of instances where the country is missing, just see what happens. Okay, so I click on country, I click on if it's missing, remove the row, I click on OK, and I click on run. If I open up this data table, we can see that this is still there. Like, it doesn't do anything because this is not the same as this. So what we have to do now is using the string manipulation node. So in the string manipulation node, we want to use a function called toNull. So what this does is it takes an empty string and it changes that to null. So we're going to see those question marks. So I want to use the toNull for the country field. And I want to replace the country column because I'm kind of fixing that column. So I don't want to make a whole new column. So I play this. And now if we look at the data set, you can see we have those question marks for where Algeria should be. And now if I run this node, we're going to lose those rows. So before we had 2938, now we have 2922. And if we click on it, we are not going to see Algeria, we're not going to see blanks, we're not going to see missing, so it's worked. So I just really wanted to quickly show you that because sometimes I know some people have had a roadblock with this specific thing where they can't get rid of the missing because it's blank and not missing. So I've just showed you how to fix that. All right, thank you so much. And again, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice one. Goodbye.